The jungle on Verdus Ford did not sleep. It breathed, it hissed, it sang in 1,000 alien voices, so when it went quiet, Dr. Avery Scott stopped like she had hit a wall. Her scanner hung useless in her hand. Her breath sounded too loud. Her boots felt like thunder. On worlds like this, silence was not peace. Silence was a warning. Then the scream tore through the dark. Not human, not even close. It was raw and animal, full of fury and pain. And then it ended in a wet, final cut that made the hairs on Avery's neck lift. Her training said, return to base, log the incident, do not engage. Her instinct said, something is dying out there. And it is not done yet. Avery moved. She pushed through hanging vines and razor-leaf ferns, stepping where the ground looked firm, avoiding the glossy mushrooms that burned skin on contact. The air was thick with humidity and metallic pollen. Her headlamp carved a narrow tunnel through the dark. She found the clearing by smell first. Blood, ozone, burnt flesh. In the center lay the SCARAN mother, massive muscle wrapped under sleek black fur, faintly spotted like starlight across midnight. An apex predator feared across 3 systems. And she was dead. Avery's light caught. The snare clamped around the beast's hind leg, a legal plasma wire. The kind poachers used because it cut clean and cauterized as it sliced. The leg was nearly severe. The ground was torn up like the mother had tried to fight the planet itself. Avery swallowed hard and crouched. Damn it, she whispered. Then something moved. A soft sound, almost lost in the night. MEWLING. But 4 cubs wriggled from beneath. The mother's body, blind, stumbling into the open. Tiny, 6 weeks old, maybe. Eyes barely open. Spots bright against their dark fur. Like someone had painted constellations on them. They pressed against the cooling body, searching for warmth that was already gone. Without the mother, they would not last the night. This jungle had too many mouths, too many noses. Avery heard the first howl far away. A hunting car that did not belong to SCARAN, REXIAN PROWLERS. Fast pack hunters. Drawn by deathlight iron to a magnet, they would be here soon. Avery didn't stand up right away. She breathed slow, made herself smaller, kept her hands low. Okay, she murmured. Okay, little monsters. New plan. The cubs heard her voice, and reacted the only way nature had taught them. They hissed, tiny fangs bared, tiny bodies shaking with fear and stubborn pride. Alien. Wrong smell. Wrong shape. Danger. Avery ignored the threat display and slit her field pack open. One at a time, she said, like she was negotiating with kings. She scooped the first cub, felt its warmth and frantic heartbeat, and eased it into the pack. The second fought harder, claws catching her glove. The third tried to bite, missed, and latched onto fabric instead. The fourth, the largest, twisted like a living saw blade and raked her forearm. The claws barely broke skin. Avery exhaled through her teeth. You are welcome, she muttered. Then she ran. The cubs bounced in a pack, making small, desperate cries. Those cries were a beacon. The prowlers hit her trail faster than she expected. She heard them crash through the undergrowth. Heard the clicking calls they used to coordinate. Heard the pack spreading, trying to cut her off. Avery's base was 8 kilometers away. Too far. The emergency bunker was closer. Not safe. Not comfortable. But it was metal, locks, and one thing. Chance. Avery's legs burned within minutes, but she kept moving. Humans were not the strongest species in the galaxy. They were not the fastest. They did not have claws, venom, or armored hides. What humans had was endurance. Persistence. Hunting was old Earth logic, written into bones and lungs. Keep going until the thing chasing you gets tired first. Avery had run ultramarathons back home. She had kept moving when her body begged for mercy. But this was not for a medal. This was for survival. The jungle tried to slow her roots, snagged her boots. Vines whipped her face. Mud sucked at her steps like hands. The pack behind her got closer. One cub inside her bag bit through the fabric and found her shoulder. Tiny teeth. Sharp enough to sting, not enough to stop her. Avery gritted her teeth and pushed harder. The bunker appeared, like a dark tooth in the trees, a squat slab of alloy half swallowed by moss. A disaster shelter built for researchers who got caught out overnight. Avery reached it as the prowlers burst from the tree line. 5 shapes, each the size of a large wolf, but built lower and heavier. Long muzzles, bone ridges, eyes that caught her light and threw it back in cold. Reflections. They saw the pack on her back. They smelled the cubs. They lunged. Avery slammed through the bunker door and hit the lock panel with her palm seal. She snapped. Bolts dropped. Mechanisms clanked. The door shuddered as a prowler hit it. Full-body metal rang like a bell. Inside, Avery tore the pack off and dumped the cubs onto the floor. Instant chaos. They scattered in all directions, hissing and spitting, terrified of the tight space and the strange alien creature that had carried them through the dark. "I saved your lives," Avery panted. "I think a thank you would be polite," the cub answered with another hiss. Outside, the prowlers threw themselves against the bunker like waves against a cliff. The door held. The bunker had a narrow observation window. Avery's light caught a spiderweb crack creeping across the glass. She thought. Maybe less. She turned back to the cubs. One had shoved itself into a corner and gone still, trembling, making the smallest sound of all. A soft, broken call for its mother. Avery's chest tightened. "That one," she whispered. Late, she would name the cub Whisper, because even her fear was quiet. Right now, Whisper was just a baby who had lost everything. Avery scanned the bunker supplies. Emergency rations, water packs, medical kit, basic tools, fabricator unit for printing field equipment. No milk, no meat suitable for infants. And cubs this young could not chew. They could not hunt. They could not wait. They needed milk soon, or their bodies would start failing before sunrise. Avery moved to the fabricator and pulled up a research database. She had studied SCARAN physiology for months, but in the safe way. Charts, samples, remote cameras. As she accessed the composition, profile, proteins, fats, minerals, bioactive compounds. The fabricator hummed, analyzing, calculating. Then the screen flashed red. Insufficient materials. Avery's jaw tightened. "Override," she said. The machine protested. Safety warnings scrolled. Avery ignored them and opened the manual formula editor. "If you can print a cutting torch," she muttered, "you can print dinner." She chose a base substitute the bunker did have, a neutral nutrient gel used for emergency food. She started modifying it. Too much protein could poison them. Too little would starve them. Wrong fat ratio could crash their metabolism. Avery used Earth feline milk as a guide, then adjusted toward the SCARAN profile. It was not perfect. It was guesswork with consequences, but doing nothing was a death sentence. She hit print. The fabricator's chamber warmed. Minute later, it produced a bottle of pale liquid, gently steaming. Avery turned slowly toward the cubs, hands low, voice soft. "Easy," she said. "I know I smell wrong. Trust me anyway." Whisper watched her from the corner, eyes half, pupils wide. Avery offered the bottle. Whisper sniffed, hesitated. Then hunger won. The cub latched on with surprising force, tiny jaws working like a machine. Avery exhaled a shaky laugh. The other cubs soared and surged forward. They fought and shoved, trying to steal the bottle. "Hey," Avery said, half scolding, half relieved. "There is enough for everyone." She printed more bottles, fed them one by one, rotating, making sure each got something. As they drank, the cubs made small sounds that were not quite purrs yet outside. The prowlers kept hammering the bunker. The window crack widened. Avery looked at it once, then stood. "All right," she said. "Now we build." The bunker had reinforcement panels stacked in a storage rack, a welding torch, emergency sealant, a portable brace frame. Avery had repaired hull breaches on mining stations. She had patched habitats after micrometeor storms. This was not space, but physics was still physics. She bolted panels over the window from the inside, welded seams, applied sealant like she was icing a deadly cake, built a second barrier behind the first. The prowlers tested, scratched, slammed their claws, shrieked on metal. Avery worked anyway. Every hour she stopped to check the cubs, to feed them again, to make sure their breathing was steady. At some point, exhaustion caught her hard. She sat on the floor and pulled off her jacket, spreading it like a nest. The cubs, still wary, drifted close for warmth. First one, then another. Whisper arrived last, slow and careful, and curled against Avery's side like she had always belonged there. Avery rested her head against the wall and listened outside. The prowlers snarled. Inside, for cubs slept. Slen Whisper made a sound, a rough vibration, uncertain. A purr, trying to remember how to exist. The others joined in, a chorus of tiny engines in the dark. Avery closed her eyes. "They accepted me," she whispered, more to herself than anyone else. Dawn came gray. and wet, the jungle steaming as the first light hit leaves. By then the prowlers had quieted, not because they had given up, because they had failed. The rescue team arrived with heavy boots and brighter lights. The bunker door unlocked with a hiss. Avery blinked, awake, stiff and sore, and found the team staring. For cubs lay draped across her lap and legs like living blankets. The team leader stepped forward, a SCARAN male, tall even on forelegs, scarred muzzle, eyes like polished amber, his name tag read Kresh. He stared at the cubs as if he did not believe they were real. "These are SCARAN young," Kresh said slowly. He looked at Avery, then at the reinforced window, then at the claw marks on her arms and shoulder. "How are they alive?" Avery yawned, careful not to jostle. "Whisper. They needed help," she said. "So I helped." Kresh moved deeper into the bunker, inspecting the bottles, the fabricator readouts, the welded panels. "You ran through prowler territory carrying our young," he said, voice tight with disbelief. "You made milk from nothing. You built a fortress with hand tools." His gaze fixed on her. "Why?" Avery looked down at Whisper, who watched her now with trust instead of fear. "Because they needed someone who would not quit," she said. "And humans are very stubborn about keeping things alive." The SCARAN leader was silent for a long moment. Then he lifted one massive paw and pressed it over his chest, a gesture of deep respect. "We have a saying," Kresh said. "The strong survive, the weak perish. This is nature." He paused, eyes moving to the sleeping cubs. "But humans changed nature." His voice lowered. "Humans tell death itself. Not today." Avery smiled, stroking Whisper's spotted fur. "We just really hate losing," she said, and in that bunker surrounded by cubs who should have died, Kresh understood why humanity had become a legend across the stars. Because when the universe said impossible, humans said watch.